Good afternoon, Patriots, and welcome to another edition of Quarantime. Please do me a favor, friends. Consider liking and sharing this broadcast on your favorite social media platform. I am RP, bringing you your daily dose of escape from the insanity and monotony of this lockdown. Joining me, as always, will be my co-host M3. We've got plenty of interesting things to discuss today. The dogs are here. Simone will probably be making an appearance. Thank you to my mods, everyone for helping out. Hopefully many more people have gotten their checks today. Also want to remind anyone, if you're on Twitter and you want to get access to my buddy who made me the tomahawk, just check my feed. You can see his profile and order yourself up a custom piece. Alright, gang, please everyone do sit back, relax, grab your popcorn, and we'll be right back after a brief word from our sponsor. Franklin's Finest Coffee is the first ever emergency survival coffee with an actual up to 25-year shelf life. The kit provides a 1-year supply of flavorful Franklin's Finest coffee for one person. It's conveniently packaged in 12 resealable, 60-serving, heavy-duty 4-layer zipper pouches for a total of 720 servings. It's all packaged in a rugged, water-resistant bucket for easy storage, and Franklin's Finest Coffee is the ultimate survival perk, especially for those that drink coffee on a daily basis. Or you can take it camping. It's 100% Colombian, and it's also the perfect item for barter or trade in an emergency. You'll thank us later for that tip. As Benjamin Franklin said, among the numerous luxuries on the table, coffee may be considered as one of the most valuable. It excites cheerfulness without intoxication, and the pleasing flow of spirits which it occasions is never followed by sadness, languor, or debility. Welcome, friends. Glad to have you here. Just want to say, someone was asking if they filled their taxes out with a 1040, does that mean they don't qualify for the stimulus? Absolutely. Ooh, good Lord. Absolutely not. That is not true. Most people do their taxes with a 1040, so that has no bearing on whether or not you qualify for a stimulus. The only thing that would make the stimulus get held up is if you don't file taxes. If you don't typically file taxes, all you need to do is go ahead and take care of it. You can do it for free online, and even if you are not owed anything, or if you don't owe anything either, it'll still get you fast-tracked to make sure that you get that refund from the government. Methods, how are you today, buddy?
Man, I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well.
Good to hear. Hope the chat's doing well today.
Yes, guys.
Another show, another day. I lose track of time and what day it is already, so.
Yeah. My clone showed up again today, and I just want to make sure everyone is aware that I don't have any memories or stories from the cloning centers. It was a painless process. Britney Spears and I were really good friends when we were there, but I don't like the direction she's gone since we got out. And I'm just kidding. Nobody never been to a cloning center. Please, everybody, if you have gotten your check today and you didn't get it yesterday, give me a 1 in the chat. I want to know if other people, besides the ones that I saw calling it out, were able to get their checks. We've got a lot of good stuff to talk about today, man. And you know, I know that this is not easy for any of us. Nobody likes the situation that we're in. Nobody likes the fact that justice is slow. But, you know, I mean, we're talking about an enormous system here in the United States. And for the most part of all of our lives, I think it's been broken. I think that we've been, Muffin, come on, honey. We've been dealing with this broken judicial and legislative system here in the United States. And the way I see it, President Trump believes in the power of America. And what that requires is the restoration of what our country is meant to be and how it's supposed to perform and how it's supposed to act. So with that in mind, just remember that when you think about the wheels of justice turning slowly, and they are excruciatingly slow, and they are turning in the correct direction, and they are legal. Now, that doesn't mean that we're not getting a little grease along the way. We've got some good things happening here. I see people all the time asking for concrete proof that things have changed. Well, I mean, if you can't see it after all these years, and after myself and Methods, bringing you this information on a daily basis, I guess I feel like it's not up to us to hold your hand. The information is out there, and when we see something new, we bring it to you. When we can remind you of it, we do that. But there are definitely people out there who just want to cause problems. They want to cause problems, and they want to bog people down and stop us from having our historically incredible sunny disposition.
Right. I mean, you're on point. I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm right there with you on that, because we do want to help people. That's why we hang out and chat on these shows. That's why we release information everywhere when we can and when we find it. But we can give you the information. We can give you how we feel about it, but we can't make up your minds for you. Mm-hmm. So when people come to me on Twitter, and I know Red Pill gets emails and stuff saying, hey, this isn't happening or whatever, I need proof, give me one proof or whatever. And it's like, I'm here to just help you with the information and move along the best I can. You make decisions for yourself, how you feel about this and all that stuff. And we also want you to go look for information so you know how to for the future. So we do put out the information when we find it, when we think it's important. We hang out with people. We try to make jokes. We do all these things to make it as comfortable as possible. But when it comes down to this stuff, I mean, it's ultimately up to you how you decide your mindset to be. And I know that these times are difficult, and sometimes it's easier than others. That's why we say take breaks, relax, get outside if you're allowed to legally, I guess. But yeah, it's something that we can only do so much. And we just hope for people that feel more pessimistic about things that you can find your balance, because ultimately we want you taken care of as a person day to day outside of all of this.
And Dean Riley says it's all my fault, Red Pill 78. And I don't know if you're joking, Dean, or if you're just poking, making fun. But I mean, the thing is, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. And it's the same way with this information. Like Method said, we do our best to bring what we see and what we find in our perspective. But when it comes down to it, we also want to help everyone here do the research themselves and be able to, recognize the signs change of wind is in the air. I mean, we're feeling it. We're on the way. It's happening. And all you need to do is go back. You can pick any number of the shows that we've done already, any number of the shows that I've done over the last couple of years. And maybe it's because I look at this stuff like unendingly. I mean, this is nonstop for me. This is nonstop for Methods. So it's perhaps easier for me to see it when I get a little peace. But I'm hoping that what we do is also helping you guys to be able to do the same thing. Just another quick ask, guys. We've got just over 3,200 people here, 980 likes. If you wouldn't mind making sure, hit that like button. Try and share this on some social media platform. Help us break through. I need to say thank you to Rook Castle. She says, Trump bucks, paying it forward. You are both beacons of light. God bless. Thank you, Rook's Castle. Hey Jude says, I posted pictures of my son's tomahawk on your tweet. He used a razor blade to carve out the EMT insignia. Amazing. Red Pills Warhawk did an incredible job, you guys. So go to my Twitter profile if you want to see the work that he did for me.
I actually was dropping the link, and I'll do it again here to your tweet. So yeah, just be looking for that in the chat, guys.
Yeah. Dale Bercier says, I can confirm that checks are currently arriving in my area today. That is a win. Red Pills Warhawk says, much love, guys. We love you too, brother. Dale Bursier says, I recommend our Dr. D's program from last night. It puts everything in perspective. Our Doc is a big friend of the channel. We appreciate him. And Just Country Girl, thank you very much for that super chat. Appreciate that.
Before you move on, our Doc's show last night, I caught it. I was like, okay, I'm eating dinner. I'm just going to listen to a little bit of podcast stuff, saw that they were on. And I stayed till the end. It was absolutely fascinating to listen to. I'll drop the link to that too while you're setting up the first story.
All right. So this is a bit of a callback to something we've been covering over the last couple days. We've been speaking about the Paycheck Protection Program. We're very close to getting a new round of funding put in so that we can save American small businesses. There were some large companies and organizations such as Harvard. Honey, Chi-Chi, you okay, buddy? There were some large places such as Harvard that had taken a lot of money. Harvard has something like $480 or $48 billion. It doesn't matter. Even if they only had $1 billion in cash reserves, that is a lot of money. They don't need to take $10 million from the American taxpayer, which is our money, going in to help a fund for American small business. It was not meant for places like Harvard, which have alumni and have federal endowments and grants and all of these other sources of funding. Well, President Trump did not like it. Steve Mnuchin did not like it. And not only were they speaking out about it, but obviously we were speaking out about it. Everybody here in the chat knows what I'm talking about. And I have great news. Harvard has announced, after saying that they would, flip President Trump the bird and keep the money, they've now said that they will not take the money at all. Now, one of the reasons that Harvard had said that they were taking the money was for students of need. Students of need. Well, again, these people are already in school at Harvard, and any type of funding that was necessary for needy students would have been worked into the current budget for that year. And again, they have a reserve of tens of billions of dollars. Absolutely no need for them to take a little bit from the American taxpayer. I saw this incredible segment yesterday from Fox News, and the gentleman that was speaking said, break off $100 million, break off $1 billion from that cash reserve that you have, Harvard, and use that to fund whatever it is that you need. This was clearly a cash grab by many different people out there in the United States who have been very used to just coming in and taking what they want, using the system, taking advantage of the system, taking advantage of the American taxpayer, and just grabbing whatever cash they could. And now I think that time is over. I think President Trump made it pretty clear that if they did not return that money, they were going to lose all their federal endowments. So whatever, it was 20 million. I don't know how many millions of dollars it was. I just know that it was tens of millions of dollars. And I know they have tens of billions of dollars in cash reserve. It was greedy and it was unnecessary.
Oh, I totally agree with that. And I was listening to, I don't know if it was said today or yesterday, but they were playing the clip of Mitch McConnell talking about this stuff. And he said, we're not interested in bailing, states out that are trying to fix their poor decision-making from the past. This has got to be connected to the Kung Flu type stuff, because that's what you're seeing happen, is that they're using this as an excuse to say, oh, we need money, we need help. And then when they find out what it's for things of problems that they created on their own. And if you follow what Trump's trying to do here, he's trying to have the states be the states. We talk about less government, more about the people. Let the people vote in the people that they want, to lead and make the decisions. And if they don't like it, they can do the petitions, they can do the protests, they can do all those things. That's what he's trying to get back to instead of more government stuff. But yeah, they're looking at the situation as a money grab. They even caught, I can't even say her last name, but she's a part of that group of AOC and them. Yeah. Did you see that when they were doing the video chat? And they were talking about how they don't need to let this bill today go through because they're going to lose leverage. And said that on the stream. I don't know. I just saw it on TV earlier. And AMS Dave, I'm sending you the link to the Tomahawk stuff right now.
Also, the Quantum Leap said, are we being played by both sides? Yes. Undoubtedly, we are being played by both sides. I mean, I've said this before, but just because you're a Republican or just because you're a Democrat doesn't mean that you're evil or that you're good. There are people who are evil and opportunistic on both sides of the aisle. President Trump is, enlisted as a Republican. But I mean, that doesn't mean that he is the same as everybody else who identifies as a Republican. There are good people on both sides. There are bad people on both sides. And as I said earlier, our country has been broken and corrupt for a very, very long time. President Trump as president is not about the Republicans taking power. It is about the people taking power. And we need to fix this system that we have. Hang on. I have a dog hair in my mouth. We need to fix the system that we have right now. And if we want to know that we can trust the Republicans, then people like us need to get involved in government and take an active part in that. We need to fix a lot of things in order to make sure that only good people get into politics and do what is right for the American public. Need to say thank you to Debbie Gray. Thank you for joining as a member. Jennifer4327. If you need to know the enormity of what accomplishment has occurred, watch Hannity for a week or two because he is good for repeating information. Or better, just pull up previous RPM3 shows. Do the work. It's fun. Thank you, Jennifer. Appreciate that. You're totally right. Topane Reginald says, another researcher told me Trump and his office are conducting all of their business on personal cell phones and email accounts. I have to believe that that is not true. If President Trump is conducting business on personal cell phones and email accounts, then it's a honeypot. He knows what the deep state can do. He knows the power that they have to listen in and intercept. If they're doing it in that way, then I have to believe that the information they're putting out there is designed to be scooped up, and then they can catch people, looking in and listening on them. President Trump is too smart to just do that. I mean, he's not a Hillary Clinton. Let's be honest. Trump Be Cool says, old news, but our skate park in Queen Creek, Arizona was filled in with sand, but it is being removed after we all complained. QC sees its citizens as dollar signs, so it's all about good press. God bless. Thanks, Trump Be Cool. Appreciate that. And I'm glad to see that you guys were able to pull together and get something taken care of. EO2 Dave says, this entire FF has looked like a cash grab to me for the operatives while trying to make Trump look bad. You're totally right. Never let a good, what is it? what did Rahm Emanuel say? Never let a good crisis go to waste. That's what it is. That's what they do. They create crises. They use it as an opportunity to cash grab, and then they try to make President Trump look bad, or whoever it is that they want to make look like they're not doing the right job. Red Pills Warhawk says, that's why I'm a constitutional conservative, and Hey Jude is a godsend. Yeah, I want to say thank you very much to Hey Jude for helping out my boy there. He deserves it, and anybody else, seriously, get yourself a tomahawk. It's a wicked, wicked thing. Very, very cool custom gift that you can have. But, Harvard, this is a perfect example of the cash grab. I mean, they have so much money in endowments. They have so much money in grants. They have so much money coming in from their students, okay? The amount of tuition that these people take in, it's obscene. All right. And now here they're like, well, we have an opportunity to get this much money from the federal taxpayer and just rake it in. It's just like 2008 all over again. We're going to take as much money as we possibly can. And President Trump wasn't having it. Which is a great thing. The only problem is now that the Dems are now trying to open up investigations into President Trump for the way that this money has been spent. I think that probably they don't like the idea that it's money that's going more to the people than it is going to organizations and companies and their big money donors. What do you think, Methods?
Oh, I agree. I mean, if anything, this is definitely exposing. I know a lot of people in this movement have caught on to these institutions being money grabbing. It's mind control manipulation tactics, funneling of money, obviously with the China connections to some of these institutions makes things even on a bigger scale, like more nefarious. So the idea, like, it's exposing how they've been using these institutions and how much they just don't care about you. They care about what your tax money, and they care about controlling you. We've talked about this before about how they, some of these people, they enjoy it. I'll use a safe term. They enjoy the controlling aspects and pulling wool over your eyes and getting away with it, and the god megalomaniac complexes that these people have. So they get into these institutions and they build them, and now they're mind control manipulating, the next generation, and that generation is handing them thousands of dollars and creating debt to where they're in this slave mentality that goes on, and then, rinse and repeat the cycle. And that's where we get into the mess that we're at now with Common Core and all these things like that. So I definitely agree with you, and I'm glad that Harvard, flinched because they needed to. And I hope that that's a trend that keeps going.
Yeah, definitely. And Mike Church in the chat said that I skipped over what to do if you don't file taxes. All you have to do is just file taxes. Fill out a 1040 for last year, send it in. You can fill it out online. It's free. There's a website to go ahead and do it. I want to say it's through the government or maybe even TurboTax or something like that.
Well, yeah, Don, let me
explain.
Let you know, because I had somebody have to do that and I walked them through it. I don't have the links in front of me, but I know TurboTax has it set up, and I think you can get the link off the website. I might have got it from a news article, but you can go to TurboTax if you've never filed taxes before or didn't during that time, and they let you file something that they then forward to the IRS to where you have some kind of paper trail created. And then just like when you file with any of these other people, they'll tell you it was accepted or not, and then to wait on the information from the IRS. So yeah, there is a way to do that if you haven't filed before. People on like disability and stuff, typically have to go that route.
Methods, would you do me a favor and drop that link for Red Pills Warhawk's profile again, the tweet that I put
of
out?
Course.
Because somebody else said that they didn't see it.
No, it's fine. I mean, the chat's even with you slowing it down, it flies. It's hard to keep up with.
Right.
But yeah, dropping it now.
All right. So what's happening is both houses of Congress are now trying to open up a new investigation. They're calling it a CV-19 task force or CV-19 oversight committee. They want to make sure that they know how this money was spent, which is ridiculous. It's meant to go to the people. President Trump is the one who's looking out to make sure that it's not going to places like Harvard, ridiculous stuff like that. Now, this is going to be just an opportunity for the Dems in both houses to attack President Trump. They've got one in the House. They've got one that's coming up in the Senate. And Nancy Pelosi is working with Adam Schiff so that they can, basically try to smear President Trump again. And hold on, Red Pills Warhawk says, rules for radicals never let a good crisis go to waste. Tells you everything about the BO administration. Right, yeah, Red Pills Warhawk is right on. Rules for Radicals, Saul Alinsky. I would actually recommend people reading Rules for Radicals because it gives you a lot of insight into the way that the other side thinks. And there's a fair amount of things that you can glean from it, which can be used against them if you see them used as tactics out in the real world. So Nancy Pelosi has tapped James Clyburn to chair the CV-19 committee and on her end in the House of Representatives. And he had referred to this situation as a tremendous opportunity. It dovetails perfectly into the idea of never letting a good crisis go to waste. Last month, he was quoted as saying, this situation is a tremendous opportunity to restructure things to fit our vision, using America's suffering to reshape the political landscape. So Nancy Pelosi tapped him. And she wants him to make sure that the CV-19 funds are used wisely and effectively. So, basically against the American public and for the betterment of the Dems and the restructuring of America. I mean, when you think about everything that they want to do, all the things that they've been talking about in the last couple of years, just imagine if they got total control. If they got both houses of Congress, if they got the White House back, imagine just how quickly the country would be devastated with the number and amount of changes that they would make. I mean, our culture would be completely extinguished from the face of this earth.
Right. I mean, they already said, if they were to get, everything back, the House, Senate, and the presidency, they would strip away everything that Trump's done.
Yeah.
And it would probably be fast. And it's scary. It is a scary thought to think about. But to the point of what you're talking about here, I don't find it a coincidence at all that the same day we're voting on a bill, for more funding and stuff, and we don't see a whole lot of pork, and they seem like they're being okay with it. Mm-hmm. Working that. Hence the live stream video we mentioned earlier about the AOC and them saying, they're going to lose leverage if they pass this. The same day they're voting to start this investigation committee that you just brought up. And so what happens with that? the mainstream media can talk more about that. They're like, oh, Pelosi and them, bipartisan, blah, blah. They're going to get you some more money. Oh, and by the way, that orange man bad we've been talking about the whole time, we're investigating him too. So you might not want to vote for him in November. You see what I mean? Like, it happens. So Nancy waiting through the weekend to have it land on the same day. Come on. That's what happened with the impeachment articles and the Kung flu spreading around the world. Yeah. It's the same situation again. It is old, but it is that evil. And you can kind of see their thought process with that. Yeah. And so I'm interested to see, because this would be planned for, I'm interested to see what kind of offensive moves Trump and because we know his lawyers, his team, his legal team are awesome. We got to watch them in the Senate just decimate the Democrats. I want to see what they're going to do to counteract this stuff, because they can't allow these investigations to occur leading up to the election like that.
No, Jim Jordan makes an excellent point in this article. There's already 8 oversight processes to see how the money is spent and what's going on. So this is going to add another superfluous process, which is, like you said, it's structured simply just to take a closer look at the president and to tap us into another ridiculous investigation, squeeze the American taxpayer for another, $35 million or more. It's a disgusting thing. JG says, friend of Bill, 41. Is that, you got 41 birthdays there, buddy? That's awesome. Good for you. Red Pills Warhawk says, to know one's enemy is to know oneself. Yeah, this is something that is an excellent point. Like I said, it gets back to reading rules for radicals. You might be surprised at the things you learn about how devious these people can be. It's an excellent plan to go ahead and do that. And then reading The Art of War is another good one, too, because you see a lot of that stuff playing out with President Trump and his tactics. And when you can understand the military maneuvering that President Trump and his team are using and going through, then you see the things taking place in the real world, and it makes a lot more sense. And you're like, okay, I can understand why they're doing it this way and why they're not just, barging headfirst into certain doom. There has to be a strategic method to the way these things take place. And believe me, President Trump is very intelligent. President Trump knows exactly what he's doing. He's running this operation with some of the most brilliant military minds on the face of the earth, let alone in America. So Elizabeth Warren, she's also going to be involved in these oversight committees, isn't she?
Right. Well, she had that letter go out. What was it? Her and 9 other Democrats in the Senate wanting, basically the investigation into Trump. So you have the House side, which is what we're talking about with, Pelosi having them vote on starting the committee. And then you've got the Senate pressure on that side trying to do the same thing. And back to that no coincidences thing, we also had the report come out that her brother I'll say allegedly, I got a problem saying that, expired is the word that we wanted to use, from the Kung flu. And of course, if it's true, he did pass away. It's always tragic to see a life gone and stuff like that. So I'm not trying to, be mean about that. No, but with that said, how convenient is it to have that narrative of she lost, a relative to the very thing that they wanted to investigate Trump over, how he handled it.
Right. This is personal to me. This is personal to me.
Right. Yeah. And it's coming from somebody who has an amazing track record of being honest. So I just find it very convenient for that to be the label of the situation, especially since we've been talking about for weeks now how they're mislabeling deaths to be, from the Kung flu. So I don't find it a coincidence at all for that. But I also find it a conflict of interest that how can she be part of leading a letter and stuff like that, trying to do that when she would obviously just be, she's supposed to be in mourning, right? So why is she allowed to even have a say in this right now when it's a conflict of interest? Because this has to do with she's supposed to be doing a job for the country.
Yeah, exactly. Let's say Just Country Girl says, do you guys think Nasara is remotely a possibility? I have to admit that I don't know, but it's a good thing that tomorrow for Friday Night Live Stream, my guests, Scott and Deb from Exit the Matrix, they're going to be here talking about Nasara and Gassara and so much more. So if you guys want to learn about that, learn about the possibility of whether or not this is something that could happen in this country, I suggest you turn in because that's what we're going to be talking about the whole time. There's a lot of information that's going to be presented. Tony Oface says they just had control for 8 years. Yes, they did. And here's the thing. Look at what took place during that last presidential administration and then see the way it flipped when President Trump came into office. Now look at how they've reacted to President Trump and the changes he's made to create, a much better situation here in this country. If they get control again, everything that's happened in the last several years is going to get wiped away. They're going to be much more extreme in the things that they ask for and the policies that they try to enact. The president, the last presidential administration is going to look like a cakewalk in comparison to what the Dems would do if they got power again from President Trump. It's not going to be pretty. That's why I implore everyone here, make sure that you vote in this upcoming election. I know that there are people out there who have never voted or who just haven't voted recently. Please consider voting in this next election. It's going to be very, very important. We've done a lot of work to get rid of illegal votes, to clean up voter rolls, places like Judicial Watch. They are working hard to make sure that every American vote counts, but it doesn't mean that anybody can sit back and rest on their laurels. We need to make sure that we participate. Also, go ahead.
And real quick on that point, I know we get a lot of you guys are being complacent and stuff. We need to get out and act more, get in the streets, some call for riots and protests, stuff like that. Our side is the digital war, and that's what we're trying to focus on. We believe that everybody's got their role, right? We believe this is our role here. So leading up all the way to the election, you're going to see more digs and stuff, especially when we find out who the VP is. We're going to go after Biden. We're going to expose and give everybody the tools that we can, the video clips, the tweets, the sauce, everything we can to help you red pill that person that's on the fence that or that you meet during all this, or your neighbor, or all those things. We're going to do our part in this side of things. That's why people like Jason, our buddy, that carried the vet down the stairs. He is boots on the ground, awesome with a camera, and can handle the mainstream media no problem. That's what he feels led to do. Just like this is why we do what we do. So that's where we're going with it. We are going to fight and do everything we can to make sure the information and stuff is out there. And also to a different point, we have 5,100 people here hanging out with us. We really appreciate it. I see 1.8 thousand likes. Make your thumb blue. And I also want to thank everybody who's shown up in my PayPal. I really love you guys.
Yeah. Thanks, you guys. And I know that JoJo and Wheezy have been dropping Methods PayPal in the chat. So thank you, ladies. I appreciate it. Daddy Crab says, didn't Trump say yesterday's presser that he was on board with vax or a head fake? I don't know that President Trump actually said that. I mean, President Trump had someone from the CDC? They were suggesting that people get vaccinated for the regular flu so that they can, differentiate between the CV and the regular flu. But President Trump didn't mandate that people get that the flu shot. It's still, as far as I'm concerned, it's a personal choice. I'm not on board with it. I'm not going to get it. I'm not worried about it. Methods, did you happen to watch that presser yesterday?
I caught part of it. We were in the middle of a voice chat dig on some stuff, so I didn't catch all of it. But yeah, I'm with you on that. I even tweeted about it yesterday. I mean, I'm not going to get vaccinated. It's not going to happen. If it becomes federal force and all that stuff, I don't care if Trump says we have to do it. No, fine. Do what you got to do. I'm not doing it. And that's my belief. And that goes to the whole, you should have your decisions and your choice and be free to do so. That's what America's about. So yeah, I won't be doing it.
Yeah. So my body, my choice. Exactly. My body, my choice. Let's talk real quick about the supposed release from that journalistic organization, WL, formerly run by Julian. The information that was put out, that, as far as I know, is not new. Okay, that list, I've seen that list pop up over and over again several times over the last couple of years. I have not been able to identify anything new in there. I know a lot of people are saying it's brand new. And I'm not trying to disparage anyone. I mean, you know how the echo chamber starts, you're playing telephone, somebody says it's new, and then everybody starts saying that it's new. But I don't believe it to be new. This is all old information. That's not to say that it's not a good resource. If you haven't seen the information, by all means, go through and take a look. It is a wonderful place to just get, quick access to everything that's posted on their website. It's just posted in a list form, so you don't have to go through a bunch of web pages to go ahead and get to it. What I believe that is a central repository where they would link to that information from within a web page. So they can put the information that's in that list into a web page, and they can section it off and categorize it. Methods, do you think I'm on point with that?
I do. I mean, I remember it being talked about before, and so I tend to agree with you that is an older drop that happened, and it kind of plays into the point that we talk about being careful about the information you put out, or at least present it as such, because a lot of people have believed that's a new drop, and it's good. Go look through the information, find something vital, bring it back to us, or bring it to somebody, or bring it to social media. But when you build up these accounts, and I'm not going to call out anybody, but as accounts grow and they get followings and all that stuff, all it takes is for for an account to put out the information, leave out the fact that it's old, whether they mean to or not, and then it gets spread around as wildfire, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just being careful and presented as such, but as far as that particular drop, by all means, go through it. It's something that has kind of, as I'm saying, been spread around before.
Yeah, most definitely. All right, so we've got some really big news today that we're going to be talking about, and then I'm going to be talking about more in depth on the video later today at 6 p.m. But we've talked a couple of times in the last week, 2 weeks, about the Durham investigation. And, we've been talking about it for months, let's be honest. But there was some information that came out from John Solomon. He said that he wouldn't be surprised if there were some actual indictments handed down this week. He's kind of walked that back a little bit because he didn't want people to hold him responsible if that didn't happen. Well, what we can tell you is that John Durham has expanded the size and scope of his investigation. He's, despite what's taking place in the country, he hasn't slowed down. Okay, the investigation hasn't stopped. It hasn't stalled. It's been taking place like clockwork. He's running it out of Connecticut. And then he has other people in other areas that are on his team. So he's added some people from the FBI and DOJ to his team, making it larger so that they can handle a greater workload. And in my mind, that means that they are, probably looking at additional people to add in terms of people to go ahead and prosecute. I mean, Methods, what was it you were telling me about the people that are involved, these new people?
Right. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and drop the article here because this is probably so far one of the best articles to drop today. It's very important to keep up on things. So I'm dropping that in the chat now. But yeah, basically the fact that he's expanding it leads me to believe that he's needing more resources, right? If these were all dead ends, why would he need to bring more people on?
Yeah.
But with that said, he's bringing in people from the FBI, agents from the FBI. But the notable one is this. What's the word? He's a chief of the Violent Crimes and Narcotics investigation section for the U.S. Attorney's Office in Washington. His name's Scarpelli. I've never personally heard his name before. I'd be interested to hear some things. They got a little bit of his bio in that article that I just dropped, and I'll drop it now again. But the fact that they're bringing that aspect into it, now maybe he's just qualified to work on the team and go and do this, political corruption stuff to help out. But the fact that his expertise, claim to fame, is violent crimes and narcotics, and then also what Barr just started with Venezuela and all the stuff going with Maduro.
Yep.
And we know that there had to have been, we'll just use the word collusion amongst people in the U.S. with Venezuela and all the stuff going on down there. Because everybody's going to get a piece to allow those things to happen with drugs and other things coming into this country. That part made a lot of us just say, whoa, hey, wait a second. So that's an interesting part to me. And I'm going to do a little bit more digging today on the Scarpelli guy, because I like who they're picking every time they do that with the Scott Brady guy.
Yep.
Looking into the Ukraine stuff. So I bet he's probably, he's probably a good guy.
Yes. Navy Vet says, love you guys, no homo. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Then Chrissy T said, missed start. WHO has been compromised. Yes or no? Well, here's the thing. We're still researching to try to verify anything. One thing that really makes me very suspicious is that it's being widely reported by people in the mainstream media and by people who I know to have been known to release fake information in the past. Also, the area in which it originated is tied to someone who is very, not supportive of this movement and, in my opinion, would do anything they could to discredit us. The board where it was originally posted, it was a new board. It just basically started the day before. And then all of a sudden, all this choice information shows up there. And then the MSM just starts posting it. I mean, why are they choosing this leak to cover and then not cover anything else? I think it's a distraction. And there's no way for us to verify any of the information that's supposedly from it because it's screenshots and stuff like that. There's no access to these actual email addresses. We can't look at, headers and stuff like that like we can with Julian's information. And it looks a little too perfect for this information to be coming out. Now, also keep in mind that the MSM is only covering a certain portion of the information. There are some cybersecurity experts who've also taken a look, and they've said that perhaps some of the email addresses and passwords were correct at one time, but this is all old information. If this was a real incident that took place at this foundation from Bill or at this global, WHO organization, then it happened back in 2018 or something like that. So unfortunately, it's just one of those things that is interesting to look into, but we can't verify the veracity of the information. And so therefore, I am not putting it out there because I don't want you guys to see information that's fake and think that it's true.
Well, what information I will put out there, and I promise you, bud, it's safe for your channel. I'm going to drop this tweet thread from Mike Bravo. I recently just started following him and paying attention to his stuff. I like Mike's work.
Mike's a great guy.
Yeah, I like what he's doing so far, and he did a great dig because you have to watch. Like I've told you guys before, I like to look at the effect after the situation, like what plays out after. Okay, we don't know necessarily where this happened, if it's true or not. We know where it showed up, so that's sketchy as far as a brand new website. But I look at who makes the biggest deal out of it, and then who the media is citing. And that thread that I just dropped here, and it's on my page, it's just a few days back, from Mike Bravo, explains the main person that is pushing this. I don't want to say too much because I want to keep this channel going. But read through that and the writings on the wall of who this person is and what they're pushing. It makes a lot of sense of how quick it happened, and then for media to immediately cite this person, that it looked to me, it's more likely like a coordinated hit, especially when they want to spin the whole racist term around it. When how can you tell when it, I didn't know that you could really tell those things at certain points when it comes to the kind of activities that we're talking about. Look at that. I'll drop the link one more time. It'll help explain things a lot better.
Yeah, definitely check it out, guys. Let's see. Stacy M said, credit union accounts given first install. Love you guys. Do you mean the stimulus checks? Credit unions got the stimulus checks first? EO2 Dave says, when will we hear about how Bill trained mosquitoes to shoot tracking nanobots into our bodies that will be controlled by 5G? I'm doubtful myself. I don't have any information on that subject. That's just a theory as far as I know that I've heard people bandying about. But if there is legitimate information out there about it, that's very, very compelling stuff that I would want to talk about. Looney Tunes says, love you, RP and M3 thoughts. Shout out to the YouTube channel On the Fringe. Small channel, 3,000 subs, but great content. Check them out. All right, On the Fringe, I'll check out your channel. Thanks, Looney Tune. Ziggy123, I wonder if medications for high blood pressure and diabetes have a conflict with the CV. Seems elderly and comped get it worse, and they take the most meds. Thanks, Red Pill. Great job. Thank you. And This sounds like an excellent question for Dr. Judy Mikovits, who's going to be coming on the program on May 9th. We talked last night on the phone for about a half hour, 45 minutes. We talked about stuff regarding this. It's really interesting, the things that she was saying. And the thing about it is, it's not theories when it's coming from Dr. Judy. She has a scientific background, all right? She knows what's going on. She knows about the research, and she can actually point to factual evidence. So I would say get those questions ready and get them ready for Dr. Judy on May 9th. Plant Girl for Life says, Red Pill, you were one of my firsts. Red pilling, that is. But I followed methods first on Twitter. What do you guys have to say about kids in tunnels or dumbs? This is another one of those ones that I can't point to any evidence on. So I never talked about it because I could never verify anything. There was that SoundCloud clip of those people telling the stories, and the telephone game, got spread around saying, I know people firsthand, but it seems that the majority of people were referring back to that SoundCloud. I have people that I know on the NYPD. They were unable to verify those activities taking place in Central Park. There were hospital tents that were put up, but they could not find any evidence to the fact that there were children being rescued from tunnels. And it pains me to have to say that, but I want you to know that. I'm saying it because I care about you guys. I care about making sure that I put out good information, and it's one of those things that I'm continuing to keep an eye on. Now, is it possible that the activity happened and it was on, there's no way for my sources to verify it? Absolutely. But if there's anybody out there in the military who can confirm it, then, that would be one step closer to having firsthand information, somebody who was actually there. I'd really like to know from somebody who was there who could say, I took part in this, or I saw it, I treated these children. Thank you for that. And Lothtech RC says, Red Pill, have you watched iPod's new video? I have not watched iPod's new video yet.
I'm hearing a lot about how good it is. I didn't get a chance before the show to watch it, but it's iPod. I'm sure it's great.
Yeah, I love iPod. He's a great guy, and I will definitely watch it after we get done here today. And Amanda Jean says, I've heard Helis circling in Dallas all day. I would definitely like to know from anybody living in Dallas, are there helos circling? I saw Ardoc in the chat earlier, and I know that he's got sources out west. So Ardoc, if that's something you can check on, buddy, I want to know about it. Let's see. So Wheezy says, I missed the cute bunker pick in the beginning. I hope Red Pill shows it too. Which bunker pick? The bunker pick from my Twitter? Let me see. I can pull it up. Hold on. This is what I put out on Twitter, showing off the there we go, showing off the tomahawk that Red Pill's Warhawk made for me. This is from Twitter, guys. So yeah, this is an example of my beautiful custom tomahawk that was made for me. Look at that. And then I duplicated it and I put it on the walls of my bunker here. So pretty cool stuff, guys. Yeah, I know. I see people saying stuff about Gene. I don't know Gene. I can't verify Gene. I can't verify his information. I've never spoken to him, so that's why I've never spoken about Gene. Trump Be Cool says, have you seen the video of the lady who busted the setup of an impromptu Trump rally in cars where a nurse blocked the way of these fake supporters? I sent it to your DM just now. Fake news. No, man. I have not heard about that. I would definitely like to pull that up. Then Cue the Music says, I get kicked off Facebook for posting pictures of Creepy Joe sniffing kids' hair, LOL. So I opened up her Twitter account. Awesome. We're glad to have you on Twitter. And there's plenty of memes of Joe Biden sniffing hair on Twitter. Hey Jude says, iPod talks mosquitoes. Trump swatted one in yesterday's presser. Well, it is springtime. Hopefully it was just a regular mosquito and not one that's been changed in any way. I'll go to Twitter real quick. Methods, did we have anything else that we wanted to say about the expansion of that investigation? I mean, like you said, the people that are involved that Durham is going after, we're talking about organized crime, we're talking about corruption, we're talking about violent crimes, we're talking about drug trafficking. I'm sure that there is some people that are directly involved with the trafficking aspect of people. When you look at the totality of that, the people that are involved, it's not just your average everyday prosecutor. It's not just a regular prosecutor. These people are specifically focused on certain aspects of this organized criminal activity that we see on a global stature, and that's very important. I mean, I think that RICO is going to be a huge part of taking these people down, and then you've got all of those individual crimes based on who these people are and, you know, what type of crimes they're committing.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I'm watching some of the obvious shills in the chat because they're calling it fake investigations and stuff like that. I mean, that's why we have no problem withholding judgment until Durham comes and presents something or does something or actions get, you know, if this investigation is ongoing, why are you claiming what the end of the movie is when we don't know? We don't know how it's going to play out. Now, me and Red Pill have our feelings about it. We know that if this is expanding and the right questions are being asked and the right people are triggered over the fact that this investigation is happening, it leads us to believe in a certain direction, and that's what we tend to believe until we're proven otherwise. To me, the news today is great. I think that's awesome that they're adding another element to the situation, another expertise to the investigation itself. It lets you know how big of a scope it is actually becoming. But to me, it's until, and we'll keep saying this, until they come back and Durham says, yep, everything was good. Trump's wrong. You're all wrong. You know, that's when hell on earth will really break out, just because of expectations and stuff like that. But till then, you know, this is a great time to learn patience, you know, work on it. I had terrible patience before all this started, but having this, you know, cycle of situations happening, and I'm like, okay, it just taught me a little bit more. And now I just learned I need to sit back and enjoy my life as well, and enjoy the day. And that's part of the mindset. That's why I work towards it. And that's why we do these kind of shows. So you can at least, you know, relate if you are on that same kind of level.
Okay. Hey, Jude, thanks again for that. Appreciate it. RDoc says Amazing Polly has a great shocker video out. I don't know what that means, but I'll go ahead and check it out. Oh, must be good. Oh, we have a pretty fun story about OBL, you know, the bad guy from September, Afghanistan, long time ago, 2001. What was the meat on that one there, Methods?
All right, yeah, let me go grab it and I'll drop it in the chat too, because Trump Jr. made us aware of this, and I'm so happy that he did. Basically, there's new declassified documents. Well, they were declassified, I think, before, if I remember correctly. I'll drop it a few more times in the chat. But basically, what the reports were is that OBL wanted Obama to be taken out as president because he knew that it would bring down America if Biden was president instead. So,
we got to get Joe Biden in power.
Right, and that was in 2012.
Oh man.
So
that is
the
so
idea
funny.
that even documents back then knew Biden running things would be a mess. You know, that's pretty funny, and I'm really glad that article was brought to our attention today.
Okay, so they want to make Biden take over the presidency for the remainder of the term, as it is the norm over there. Joe is totally unprepared for that post, which will lead the United States into a crisis.
That's so funny. And Elizabeth G., I see your comment in here. I'd like to say hi to our granddaughter, Kelsey. Glad you're here. Glad you're hanging out with us.
All right, so our Cloaked Unseen World says, just made a 3-video series showing Hollywood uses magic and high-tech, not special effects. I show you tech magic. 5G used, both T2 help. Oh, both to help, to hurt, thinking too small, drop the mic. Okay, well, our Cloaked Unseen World, I'll check it out. Julia for Freedom says, love learning when I watch new perspectives and research. Sent methods via PP. Oh, probably PayPal. We're in for the long game, and Trump is just the man for 2020. Where we go one, we go all worldwide. Yeah, that's an excellent point. President Trump is the man right now, all right? He's the man for this moment. But President Trump is going to be leaving office at some point, and it's going to be up to us to make sure that the next right person for the job gets in there. Patriot Drummer says, if you're not patient, you become one. There you go. That's good. Brody Geddes Global, are you related to Martin? Has joined as a member of the channel. Thank you for that. And Julia for Freedom says, hey there, Professor R. Dr. D. LOL, loved last night's show. And Red Pills Warhawk says, my JE didn't do it shirt is finally printing. Yes, as soon as you get that shirt, bro, send me a selfie and I will post it all over the place. I can't wait to see it. It's great. Oh my gosh. All right. Ardoc is hilarious. Ardoc, I'm glad you're here with us, buddy. Hey, Rod Rosenstein is in the chat. What's up, Mr. Former Assistant AG? Craig Sawman Sawyer took $500,000 in donations from us to produce a child rescue video for Netflix years ago. Still no video and no refunds of our money. I have no information on that situation. If that is the case, there's got to be something you can do, like breach of contract or some type of court action. I'm not a lawyer, so unfortunately I don't know. I know that Sawman is involved in some legal actions of his own right now, going after people that he believes wronged him. So he's not, unfamiliar with the inside of a courtroom. But if that's true, then something should be done about it. I mean, that's no good. That's absolutely no good. And that wouldn't it be funny if that was the real Rod Rosenstein? I mean,
right.
We've talked about this before. I mean, there was what was the one time Matthew Whitaker was in the chat.
Oh yeah. Well, this one is Rod Rodenstein.
Rodenstein? Oh yeah. Man, I missed it.
Which is also great.
Yeah, I love it.
Because yes. I mean, he's the one that looks like a rat the most. So.
He does. He does look like a rat. Oh, okay. What's up with this Sarah Carter thing? So President Trump has decreed that no more money is going to go to who? I don't know. That company or that organization, that global organization. And in its place, China is stepping in to donate $30 million since the U.S. is no longer going to be giving them our money.
Right. I mean, so they're doing that for, that whoever that company or organization is, but then also doing it for Maduro as well. If you notice the power struggle here that's happening, like Trump's like, okay, we're not going to work with these people because they're bad and I'm not trusting and we're investigating them, or, even, we're putting out bounties for people to be arrested, all that stuff. And China's like, okay, here, let me send them some money. That's so ridiculous to me.
Yeah.
That it's that obvious that it's not about necessarily countries. I mean, this is just about, two different sides fighting. That happen to be spread out across the world when it comes to who's allied with who.
Well, I mean, it goes to the point that it's China we should be watching. I mean, this is no new tactic. I mean, China and the U.S., Russia and the U.S., I mean, throughout history, we have fought what are proxy wars in these other smaller countries. So China steps in, they give aid to Venezuela, they prop up Maduro. It keeps the United States and the military involved down there. Now they do the same thing at the WHO. They come in, they give the money when we would not, and it allows them to continue their mission, which is to basically co-sign and reprint whatever BS China is giving them and telling them to go ahead and put out. I mean, we've seen it. They've been very supportive of that country. They've essentially just reprinted press releases from the CCP, much like the mainstream media here in the United States. It is really unfortunate, and this is a huge problem that we need to deal with as a country. They have worked tirelessly for decades to get a foothold on American popular culture. I mean, I'm sure that everyone's aware that they bought into Hollywood and the film industry. And the only reason they did that is so they could insert their own narratives and try to break down America and our people. So not cool, not a good idea. We need to get them out of this country. We need to protect ourselves, and we cannot allow for these psychological operations to be done here on American soil against our citizens. Just want to say Mark 222714 for the win. Good afternoon. Took the day off to catch you live. Well, thanks, buddy. I'm glad that you're here. I want to say hello to my girlfriend, Real Red Pill Girlfriend. We're going to be meeting up later today. I'm super excited about that. And Aunt Kiki says, this is for Real Red Pill Girlfriend for some chocolates since she shares your time with us. Thanks. Love you guys. Awesome. Well, I will definitely have some chocolate waiting for you, my love. We'll go ahead and take care of it. So what's going on, man? We've got another bright day ahead of us. We've got our news roundup, Red Pill News, coming up at 6 p.m. And then tomorrow we've got our show on Nasara. I know that so many people want to know, what's the story with Nasara? Is it real? Is it actually going to happen? And I'm excited to be able to bring that to you. And hopefully I'm excited to be able to help you receive some new information. And if this is real, then, maybe we can make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, it gets brought up so much, right? We've had a question every day for what, two weeks now?
Yeah.
So I'm glad you're doing the show, so we can learn more about it and, develop our opinions. So no, it's cool. But yeah, you've got yours at what was it, 6 o'clock tonight?
Yeah.
Is your show? I'll be catching. Somebody had replied to you yesterday and said that we were conflicting with 412's show. And I replied back and never got a response. And I'm like, no, I know that we're not conflicting with 412 show because I watch it after our show.
Yeah.
But shout out to 412 over at We the People Insider. I'm actually going to shamelessly plug him because I can.
Yeah, love 412.
Because their show starts at 4 o'clock Eastern. I always catch them, and then I hop over and listen to Abe over on 5x5. It's just kind of like a good wind down for me after these shows that we do.
Yeah.
But yeah, let me go grab that real quick before we round up. But yeah, thanks guys for hanging out with us. It's been great.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys being here. Appreciate spending the time with you. Thank you for the excellent communication and the chats that we've had. I absolutely love being able to do this show, to be able to help you guys, and I really hope that you are getting some benefit out of it. Don't forget, we'll see you at 6, and then tomorrow we're going to be back at 2 p.m. for Quarantime. As always, this has been Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this was Quarantime. Good luck and God bless everyone.
Yeah, much love.